There was once a man who woke up every morning with the same determination. Today will be different, he'd say. He'd look at himself in the mirror, feel the spark of motivation, and set out to make changes in his life. But by the time night rolled around, the spark had faded. His day filled with distractions, setbacks, and self-doubt. And as he lay in bed, he couldn't help but ask himself, why do I keep falling back? Why can't I follow through? This is a story that we all live at some point. You make promises to yourself, I'll get healthier, I'll build that business, I'll become the best version of myself. But somewhere along the way, you cave in, you stumble. The question isn't why did I fail? It's deeper than that. The real question is, why haven't I committed? You see, the world around us doesn't want you to commit. Look at the messages we get daily. Everything is pulling you toward distractions, toward chasing fleeting pleasures, instant gratification. The world tells you to do what feels good now, to cut corners, to compromise your values for short-term gains. It tells you it's okay to break promises to yourself and others. But let me tell you a story. There was a man, ordinary, much like you or me, who lived by these same rules. He was always chasing the next big thing, looking for quick success, indulging in every whim that came his way. But deep down, he was restless. He could feel the potential inside him. He knew he was capable of more, yet every time he tried to commit to a goal, he faltered. He was stuck in a cycle of making promises and breaking them. It was like he was living in a fog, unable to see clearly the path in front of him. Then one day, something changed. After yet another failed attempt to transform his life, he sat down and really thought about it. Why can't I follow through on my own word? The answer hit him hard. It wasn't because the goals were too difficult or because life was too overwhelming. It was because his word, his promise, meant nothing. Not to others, and especially not to himself. It was in that moment of clarity that he realized something fundamental. Commitment isn't about external success. It's about internal integrity. It's about honoring your own word, not because someone else is watching, but because you are. He realized that the most important person he needed to prove anything to was himself. So he made a decision. I will commit, he told himself. And this time, it was different. He wasn't driven by the need to impress others, or even by the desire to achieve something grand. He was driven by the need to rebuild trust with himself, to honor his own word. As he began living by this new code, he noticed that his life started to change. Slowly at first, small victories, little signs of progress. But those small victories compounded. He was no longer caving in at the first sign of difficulty because this time, he wasn't just chasing goals. He was living with purpose. He was killing the old version of himself with every decision he made, allowing a new, stronger version to emerge, and it felt like freedom. Now this man understood the truth that had always been in front of him but had been clouded by doubt and distractions. Commitment is not about the outcomes. It's about the process. It's about becoming who you want to be through your actions, day in and day out. And the more he committed to this process, the more he began to see real, tangible change in his life. He was no longer just talking about becoming stronger, smarter, wealthier. He was living it. So let me ask you, why do you keep falling back into the same patterns? It's not because you're incapable. It's because you haven't yet understood the power of your own word. Your word is your bond, not to others, but to yourself. And once you realize that, everything shifts. When you honor your own word, when you truly commit, you unlock the potential that's been lying dormant inside you. You begin to see that the only limits that exist are the ones you've placed on yourself. And here's the thing. If you commit to your own growth, if you're willing to sacrifice who you are today for who you want to become tomorrow, there is no limit to what you can achieve.